Hey guys, welcome to our team chat. I'm so happy to spend this time with you guys. All right, so today we have a really cool topic that I'm going to be talking about, and I'm excited because I think this is something that we all struggle with a lot. As you develop in your coaching career, you get thicker skin, and what people think and say don't really matter as much as they used to. But I know when I first started as a coach, it was kind of a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, you're just deal with a lot of that fear of rejection. And so I want to talk with you guys today about how to not let what people say or think or do, or your imagination of what they're thinking, because that's usually what it is, right? It's our brains that go into overdrive, and we imagine all of these things that people are thinking about us when we sign up to be a network marketer, or we sign up to be a health and fitness coach. And it's our brains that are really our worst enemies. And I mean, we know that for just like about everything in life, right? Like, even when you're starting to like lose weight or get fit, it's our brain is our worst enemy most of the time. So we're going to talk about that today, how to fly above the negativity. Okay, if there is true negativity in your life and it's more than just your imagination, let's fly above that and let's build a business that it's not affected by what somebody thinks or says or does. I'm going to mute you guys because I don't want to get feedback. I just realized I didn't do that. Okay. Oops. Okay, everybody's muted. All right. So, how to keep your head and heart above negativity, haters, doubters, and dream killers. Before I go into that, I do want to mention a couple little announcements, just updates about what's coming up. We are going to be starting a group for new coaches for people who are interested in becoming a coach to learn more about coaching. It's going to be an ongoing group. It's going to be every single week. So all your job is to do as a new coach is to invite. And you don't have to worry, because I get this a lot. People are like, oh, Mary, but what if I invite somebody and then they're actually interested in becoming a coach? What do I say? I don't know what to say. Well, you won't have to worry about that anymore, because you can let me and some of the other leaders on our team do that explanation for you, describing what coaching is all about. This group is already started. It's called Coach 411. I will post the link to the group in the recording of this video so that you can request to become a member, and then just get out there and invite everyone. Talk less to more people. Okay, that's like the number one key of network marketing. The best advice I heard from Ray Higdon. If you haven't listened to his podcast yet, I highly suggest that you get on that podcast. It's amazing. It's called Home Business Profits with Ray Higdon. So anyway, he said that if he could put network marketing success into one sentence, it's talk less to more people. Okay, so don't overwhelm people with information. Just get out there and invite them, and really with the goal, not the goal of closing them, or not the goal of actually getting them to sign up as a coach. My goal is just to see if they're open to hearing more about becoming a coach. And if they are, you can add them into this group and let us do all the explanation about what coaching is all about. So I'm really excited about that. That's going to be awesome. And we are starting that next week. So get out there and invite. Let's get a good group of people into the group, and let's sign up some coaches. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to mention is Court of Force just released. It is open. The challenge packs are all up for sale. If you're using the app, I want to just point out one thing. In the app, the Team Beachbody Coach mobile app, where you can actually get a link and email it to a prospect that is interested in a challenge pack, make sure that you hit the right button. There's a Court of Force digital challenge pack, and there's a Court of Force DVD challenge pack. Okay, the digital challenge pack comes with 90 days of BOD, and then their program is then unlocked in BOD, but they don't get DVDs, so they're going to be required to keep being a BOD member in order to do Court of Force. So I just wanted to point that out. I think BOD is totally worth the money. But I just don't want anybody getting upset, 90 days from now when they're like, wait, what? I have to pay $40 for the next 90 days. So make sure that you hit the right button and that you're talking to people and you know what they want. Again, BOD, in my opinion, is worth paying for. There's a lot of really awesome perks that come with BOD. So, I think that's a good option. I just think that we need to make sure people understand what they're getting. Okay, I think that's it. So now I want to get into our topic. Again, like I said, I'm really excited about this topic. I'm going to be talking about how to keep your head and your heart above negativity that can tend to surround us sometimes. The negativity that we imagine in our minds, which I think is number one, that's the biggest one. And then number two, maybe you do have people in your life who found out that you're signed into a network marketing company and they go, oh yeah, what the heck? You're going to be like out there selling everybody. Like, there's a lot of things that people have said to me. It's not anymore really, but in the very beginning of my business, when I first signed up, I did get a lot of that kind of like snide little comments from people. And if you're not careful, you can allow, and I want you to listen to me very carefully when I say this, because this is very powerful. You can allow someone who has no stake, zero stake in your life, zero stake in whether you succeed or fail, to keep you from being a success. I think that's very powerful. I really hope that you guys think about that. Who in your life are you allowing to hold you back, who has absolutely no stake in whether you succeed or fail? If you fail, it doesn't matter to them. It's not going to affect them. Their income's not going to be affected. If you succeed, it's not going to matter to them either, because guess what? Their income's not going to be affected, right? We have to stop allowing people who have no say in our life to have a say in our life. And it really is all about giving permission and granting permission and being careful with who we grant permission into our lives. If you really think about it, Susie across the street isn't going to be affected with my level of lifestyle or my income or where I'm at in my life when I'm, 10 years down the road, right? So why would I let her stop me from doing something that is going to affect my life, right? And I think the biggest key to this is owning what you want, owning it, and being willing to say, you know what? I'm a big girl. This is my life, and this is what I want with my life. I know where I'm going. I know exactly where I'm going, and I know what I want out of my coaching business, and I'm not going to allow someone who's a negative Nelly to affect that. Okay, so first point is, if you don't have a doubter, if you don't have a hater in your life or someone who's maybe been looking down their nose at you, you're probably not putting in enough effort. You're not going hard enough with your business. And it's just the way it is. When we start making efforts to better ourselves, we always are going to stir the pot in someone else. And usually what it is it's either jealousy or it's they're uncomfortable. Because when I start making changes in my life and I start expecting more out of myself, the people who are closest to me, my family, my friends, they feel that giant spotlight directed right at them, right? And they feel that. So they might be sitting their butt on the couch watching Netflix all night while I'm working on my business, and they're thinking, well, I really probably shouldn't be doing this. Like, why am I not more, motivated to do something with my life? And so you're shining the spotlight on them, and they might not be ready to change. So they don't like that. It feels uncomfortable. And you'll get a lot of people who, have that it's either jealousy, they don't want to see you succeed because they're just jealous, which that's not nice, or they just feel uncomfortable because you're putting a spotlight on them. Having a doubter in your life, having a hater or a doubter is the number one way to knowing that you're on the right track. So when I put my dreams out there and I tell people what I want with my life and where I want to be in 5 years, 10 years, and it's a big goal. I have big goals. And when I share that with people, if I'm not getting a little bit of pushback, you know what I'm saying? It's probably not big enough. My goal's not big enough. So when I first started coaching, it was probably a year into it when I realized that this was like a really cool thing that I had stumbled across, right? Without really knowing what the heck I was getting myself into. But this was pretty darn cool. And I started talking about it at work. Now, my job, I lived in California. I don't live there anymore, but I lived in California in the Bay Area. I made really good money at my job. And so when I started talking to people at work and mentioning that, you know what, I'm not going to be here till I'm 62 years old, working away with my fingers to the bone for this job. I'm not. I have a plan B. I have an escape route out of this job. And I got pushback. Okay. I didn't get anybody outright hating on me, but the doubt was very real, very real. So I got a lot of like, really? Like, you make a lot of money. Why would you give that up? Or what about your benefits? Like, you get really good benefits. What about your retirement? You know, are you really sure that Beachbody is going to be around? You know, like, just a lot of questions and a lot of doubt over my abilities and the power of the company to take me to this goal. Did I let it stop me? Heck freaking no. Heck no. Did it bother me? Yeah, it bothered me. I'm a human being. All right. But like I said, the more you exercise your own sense of self-confidence and self-worth, and the more you have in mind the vision of where you want to go with your business, the less and less those types of things are going to affect you. And instead of letting it affect you, you can turn it around and say, oh, don't believe me? Just watch. Just watch me go, right? And you can use that doubt, you can use the negativity to fuel you to prove them wrong. And I did that. And it was funny because when the beginning of this year, when I let everybody know that, hey, I'm actually retiring. I did it. I'm leaving in April. I had so many people from my job like, oh, so what was that about? What are you doing? Like, I signed up coaches. There's coaches on our team right now that signed up the week that I quit my job. Why? Because I didn't allow people to pull me down, right? I didn't allow them to restrict my activity. And I just went with what I knew. I knew that this business had power, and I went with it. And so that's what I want to encourage you guys to do. Just keep your head above that. And the way you do that is by focusing on your vision and having a very clear vision of where you want this to go. Brandon and I sat down one day with a notepad. I found it the other day when we were moving. We sat down with a notepad and we literally wrote out what our life was going to look like. We wrote it out, like details, you guys. Big time details. We wrote out what our house was going to be like, how many square feet it was going to be, where we were going to live, what the property was going to look like, the color of the house. I mean, it was super freaking detailed, okay? We wrote out how much money we were going to be earning, what we were going to be able to do with that money, not just for us, not just to build a ginormous house or whatever, but what we could do for other people, how we could help other people, how we could take our money and we could use it to better the lives of others and to give back to the community and to help people across the ocean that we don't even know and will never ever meet. And we allowed ourselves to dream really big, really, really big. Have we reached all of those goals? No. Will we? Yes. Absolutely yes. But you have to have a clear vision and you have to know where you're going and you have to know why you're doing it, why you're fighting, why you're pushing yourself, and why you're giving up those hours in front of Netflix, right? When your friends are out partying on Friday night and you're sitting at the computer and you're inviting people to better their lives. Like, you have to know why, because it does take some sacrifice. It really does. It takes a lot of sacrifice. I had to sacrifice a whole lot, okay? And really, the payout is worth it. It took me 4 years, not quite, about 3.5 years, to get to where I could quit my job. And so all of that sacrifice, the time sacrifices that I made, the not watching TV sacrifices that I made, the literally like carving out pockets of time throughout my day at work, my 15-minute breaks, my lunch breaks, using all of that time in a positive way where I could work on my business. All of those sacrifices that were not easy paid off. And now I have time to do what I want, right? I have more time now. Working my business full time is less time than I was working full time as a court reporter. Okay, so I gained a lot by making a few sacrifices. And it did take some years, but it was worth it. It was totally worth it. So have that super solid why you're doing this and where you're going. Okay, so I think it's important to understand who the doubter is in your life so that you can address that person specifically, okay? So what do I mean? When I started Beachbody, Brandon was not a doubter, but he wasn't sold on it either. He did not hold me back though. But I did have family members who did, and I had family members who made really snide remarks, okay? The bottom line is we can't get rid of family, okay? But if it's an acquaintance or somebody that you, in your Facebook newsfeed that you don't really like, are you really friends with them? Make that determination. Do I really need this person in my life? And if you don't, there's this great feature Facebook has called hide or unfollow or unfriend or block. So if you've got somebody who's really harassing you, why put up with that? You don't need that in your life. Block them. Block them. I've blocked people from my page because I was just like, you're adding no value to my life. I'm never going to have an effect on you because your mindset is just woohoo, right? I blocked them because I can't afford to allow someone in my life who's going to take me off my focus and who's going to, even if they don't like mess up my, maybe I'm still working my business, but they're causing me frustration or they're causing me anger, like they're making me angry. Like when I see their posts, I'm like, ooh, block, unfriend, hide. Use that feature for your own good. You don't need to be friends with everybody, right? We don't need to be friends with everybody. That was something I had to learn the hard way, you guys. Like when I first started coaching, I really wanted to everybody to love me, and I want everybody to see my posts and just be super inspired. But guess what? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Okay, so don't be afraid to get rid of those people who are causing you issues. Now, if it's somebody who you can't get rid of, okay, so like for me with what I dealt with my family, I can't get rid of them, okay? Like I don't want to get rid of them. I love them, but they were causing me issues. So here is what I did. I allowed the doubt and I allowed the snide. I got some pretty snide remarks from my family, okay? But I allowed that to fuel me to show them that this is real, that I am not going to quit, that I'm going to make something of this, and that, this is a real thing to me. It's important to me. And after about the first year of my business, the snide remarks and comments went away. And then I don't think he'll ever see this, but my brother-in-law just last month purchased a challenge pack for me. My brother-in-law who told me to my face, you're just trying to sell people. Like you're like he looked at me like a dirty salesperson, a dirty, rotten salesperson. Okay. And it really bothered me, you guys. I'm not going to lie. It hurt my feelings because I've never tried to sell a single person. That's not what I'm all about. I want to work with people who actually want to get healthy. I'm not going to try to sell somebody. And so that really bothered me. It bothered me for a long time. But yeah, so just last month, he texted me and he's like, okay, so I think I want to try Shakeology. I'm like, now I had that moment where I wanted to send a comment, the kind of comment back, but I didn't. So I just want to say the number one way to turn a doubter into a co-conspirator or to turn a doubter into a supporter is by showing results. That's how you got to do it. All right. You have to show them results. Okay. Now, maybe it's a spouse and you know your spouse loves you. They love you to death. You have no doubt of that. But maybe they don't believe in this business, or maybe they don't believe in you doing this because maybe you've done 5 other multi-level marketing companies and you've quit every other one. I don't know. Or maybe they don't believe that this is going to work, or that this has the power, or that you have the power to do it. The only way to get past that is to show results, to show up every single day, to show them that you're serious, you're consistent, you're putting in the time and effort, you're showing up. And then if you're doing all of that, the results will come in. And once they start seeing those paychecks piling up in your bank account, trust me, they will become a believer. They will become a believer. So that's like the number one way, is just by showing results. Okay, so let me look at my notes here. Okay, so how do you get results? And I just want to run through a few things really quickly. I think most of you guys that are here live with me on this call, you know what to do. You know what to do. But we have new coaches. So I just want to run through a few little pointers right now. So number one is talk to more people. Okay. We can all talk to more people. I could talk to more people for darn sure. Okay. The more people you talk to, the more people are going to say yes. It's just the way it works. There's a certain percentage of people that you talk to who are going to say yes. And so it's usually 10 to 20, depends on where you're at in your business. If your brand spanking new, it's going to be a higher number that say no. But as you practice, right, and as you practice your inviting and you practice explaining what the program's all about and telling them, you know, how awesome it is and showing enthusiasm, which is the most important thing, you will drop that number down. So you'll get a much higher ratio of people who say yes. But that only happens if you're actually out there inviting people and talking to people, right? Nobody's going to say no if they're not invited. It just doesn't happen. It really doesn't happen. A form of inviting is every day. You show up, you do your own workout, you drink your Shakeology, you show up and you talk about it on Facebook. So you'll see me on I use my Facebook like page, but you guys, unless I'm really super duper sick, I show up every single day. I'm on my page every day. They know what I'm about. They know what I'm all about because I share that with them. I'm talking about what I'm doing. I'm talking about my workout. I'm talking about my shake. I honestly, most of the time, I don't even call it Shakeology. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed that, but I'm not selling on my page. I don't do that. And I don't recommend anybody do that. I don't even call it Shakeology. I'm just like, oh my God, I had this super bomb chocolate shake today. So sometimes less is more, right? Because when you give less information and you're not spilling the entire beans all over the place, it gets their curiosity up. And so I'll get messages. So like, what kind of protein shake do you drink? Well, that's a perfect opening for me to talk about Shakeology, right? So that was extra, but say less to more people. Say less to more people. What do I mean by that? Don't focus on closing someone. Focus on just getting the information out there, a simple invitation to see if they're open to learning more. And when you do that, you say less, you disqualify the ones who aren't interested really fast, right? Because they'll let you know. They'll either not respond, you'll get crickets, or they'll tell you outright, no, I'm not interested, or it's not the right time for me, or whatever. And you can move on to the next person without having invested a ton of time into trying to convince them to do something that they don't want to do, which is just frustrating for you and it's frustrating for them. Trust me, if you do this technique, less is more, you will have those people who say no 2 months from now, 4 months from now, because you're consistent, you're showing up every day and you're posting what you're doing and you're sharing your progress and you're recognizing other people on our team or in your challenge group that have had success with it too. And they're seeing that, they will come back around and then it'll be them asking you. And that's the best way. Most of my challenge pack sales end up that way. It's not from my initial invite. I'll invite them, right? I invite them. They say, oh, not right now. And then a month later, 2 months later, they're knocking on my door asking me for more information or telling me they're ready. That's the way this works. So a kind of side note is just always remember that you're not going to get, typically not going to get a result from an invitation immediately. So if somebody says no, or they say, I'm not interested, or not right now, or I don't have the money, move on to the next person, because you just planted a seed in that person's mind. Even though there was a negative response, that doesn't mean that 2 months from now, 3 months from now, they're going to be coming back to you. That's the way this business works. In order to see a true return on your investment of time, the time you're putting into your business, you have to give this at least 3-4 months. Okay? Show up every single day. We've covered that, I think, enough at this point on this video. But show up every day. Please don't be inconsistent. You guys, I know we talk about this a lot, but you can't show up for a week and post 5 days a week, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, and then disappear for 2 weeks and then come back and pick up where you left off. Okay, now if you're listening to this video and you're like, oh, but Mary, I fell off the wagon and I haven't posted in a month. Go back to posting, okay? So don't take what I said right now as an excuse to not work your business. But what I'm saying is, at some point, you have to embrace consistency. You cannot build a solid business if you're not showing up every single day and you're not putting the time in. You're not at least showing that you're doing your own product, right? It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. So you have to show up every single day. And if you've fallen off the wagon, get freaking back on the wagon, but don't allow yourself to do the roller coaster. You have to get on and you have to stay on. And the key to that is doing this for yourself. Okay? Because if I started this business and I said, okay, I'm doing this because I want to make a ton of money and I want all these people to buy from me, and that was my sole goal in doing my business, I would have quit a long time ago, because there's been plenty of months where it was scarce, you guys, right? Nobody wanted to get fit that month. That happens. Those months happen. And if you allow that to drag you down, you're never going to go anywhere. You have to have, some part of you has to be doing this for yourself. So for me, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that if I hadn't been a coach over the last 2 years, I would have gained back every single pound of the 50 plus more, because of the hard things that I went through over the last 2-3 years. I'd have gained it all back. The only reason I look the way I do right now, and I do need to lose about 10 pounds, but the only reason why I look the way I do right now is because I was a coach and I had people watching me. And I couldn't let it get out of control. I had accountability. Okay, so find something about this business that works for you and that keeps you accountable, so that on those months where nobody wants to get fit, you can literally legit be like, okay, nobody else wants to get fit, but I'm going to keep going, because this is keeping me accountable. Posting every day and sharing my journey and being consistent is keeping me accountable. Third point is talk to an audience, even when it feels like nobody is listening. What do I mean by that? Okay, you guys want to hear a secret about me? And this has been true for a long time. I've done this for a long time. When I get on these team calls, like right now, we had 5 when we started. We lost a couple. I think some people had to go to work, or their lunch break ended, or whatever. But when I first started these team calls, and when I do them now, so when I signed on today, I saw 5 people. Not in my mind, I didn't. I saw a crowd in my mind. I saw an audience in my mind. Okay, so I want to encourage you, when you go on live on Facebook and you're talking about whatever you're doing and you're looking at the little thing at the bottom and it says 0 people are watching you, don't let that faze you. In my mind, when I'm on Facebook Live, I have thousands of people watching me, and I have hearts floating across the bottom, and they're like loving what I'm putting out there. You have to have that mindset, right? You have to always think ahead of where you are. Okay? So if you're brand spanking new and you're just starting out, I really want you to think about that. I am not just talking to one person. I'm talking to 20. There's 20 people who are going to read this, and they're going to, I want to think about how it's going to affect them, what they're going to think when they read my post. How's it going to appeal to them? How's it going to relate to them, right? To my audience. I have an audience. I have a tribe. So speak to an audience even when it feels like nobody's listening. Grow yourself ahead of where you are. So this kind of piggybacks on the speaking to the audience point. When you're working on personal growth, it should be like, if you're not working ahead of where you are, you're never going to grow past where you are, right? We have to be growing ahead of our business. So I know you guys have heard me say this a gazillion times, but if you take like a little tadpole and you put it in a tiny little 5x5 goldfish bowl, what do you think is going to happen to that little tadpole? He'll turn into a frog, because that's biologically what happens to tadpoles. But is he ever going to grow into this ginormous bullfrog? No, because the tank won't support him, right? We are the tank of our business. If I'm not growing myself through personal development and personal growth and constantly working on me, my business is never going to grow. It'll get to a certain point and it will plateau. It will totally flatline. It's not going to keep growing because I'm not ready for the growth. I have to be ready for it. I have to be ready for the growth. All right. So constantly grow ahead of where you are. Constantly be thinking, okay, my business is at this point. What can I do to make it better? And start getting books on that and listening to audios and going on YouTube. There's a gazillion different ways to do personal development, and it's all free, right? Well, it's not all free, but there's a lot of free ways to do personal development. So as an example to you guys, today, I counted this up because I wanted to give you accurate information. Today, I listened to 1 hour and 45 minutes of personal development. Does that mean I sat down in a dark room and I had all the lights off so I could really focus and I just listened to my personal development? No. I washed the dishes. I did my workout. I did laundry. I vacuumed the floor. I made the bed. I changed the sheets on my bed. I put bleach in my shower so that as soon as I'm off this call, I could go scrub down my shower. Now you get to know what I'm doing today. I did the dishes. All right. I was constantly moving the entire time that I was feeding my mind. So you don't have to feel like, well, I don't have time to do personal development. I'm just so busy. No, you're not. There's plenty of time throughout your day that you can do it, where you're not taking yourself away from something else that needs to be done. So when I was working full time, it was my commute. Every day on my commute, I listened to my personal development. Recognize the successes around you. So if you're a brand spanking new coach and you're like, well, Mary, I just started this week and I don't know, I don't have a client, I don't have a customer, I don't have a coach on my team. There's plenty of people around you that have had awesome success with Beachbody that you can talk about. Okay, and look no further than our team, our own very own team. And then you can legitimately say, this chick on my team lost 50 pounds, she lost her IBS, and you can show a before and after picture. We have them in our team page for that purpose. And you can legitimately say, this is a person on my team. It is your team. We are your team. We are your family. Use that. Use our success. Use our stories to help you grow your business. But recognize those people, recognize your challengers, recognize coaches, recognize other team members, so that people who are watching you on Facebook and social media will see that this is something bigger than just you. It's not just you, right? This is a big movement we're a part of. And then the last one is surround yourself with positive vibes. This is super important, you guys, super important. There's the other day, this just happened to me. It was either at the beginning of this week or the end of last week, where I woke up and I was just, my mindset was like not in a good place, okay? I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. So what did I do? I recognized it immediately because I've been focused on personal growth for so long now, but I was able to recognize immediately what I needed, and that was I needed my personal development. And I focused on personal development, and it took me a while that day to get myself out of that mindset, but I did it, okay? So don't wallow in a negative mindset. Surround yourself with positive vibes. Make friends with our team members, people who are actually working their business in our team. Become friends with them. Follow them on Facebook. You're going to see their posts, and it's going to inspire you, right? It's going to inspire you, and it'll lift you up. Okay, and then my last point that I'm going to let you guys go, I know I've been talking. I thought this was going to go really fast. Always understand you're never going to win everyone over. You won't. You're never going to win everyone over. And you have to be okay with that, right? But you can make a difference in the lives of people who are willing and ready to listen to what you have to say. Okay, so my job as a coach is not to convince somebody who is happy where they are to make a change. They're happy where they're at, you know, or they're so unmotivated that they're just not ready. If they're not ready and willing, I'm wasting my time. I'm never going to convince them. I don't have powers of persuasion like that. Neither do you. Nobody does, right? We have to work with the willing. I don't want to just sell a challenge pack. I don't want to just get 2 Success Club points. That's not what I want. I want people's lives to change. I want them to lose weight. I want them to feel better about themselves. I want them to be so excited about what they've done that they want to tell the world about it. I want them to regain their pride in themselves and their self-respect. That's what I want. I don't just want 2 points. So I might be able to sell someone. I've been doing this for a while. I'm sure I could just sell somebody who didn't really want it, but they don't want to say no, and I'm pretty persuasive, so they say yes. But then they don't do their program. They don't drink Shakeology. That doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't do anything for my business. All right? It's $40, and that's it. It ends there. That's not what I want. I want people who want this. I want people who want to change their lives. And it's the same with coaches on my team. I don't want to just sign up everybody to be a coach. I want to sign up people who want to work. I want to sign up people who want to build a business. And who want to change their lives. So you have to stop convincing people who don't want to be convinced, right? You have to work with the willing, and you have to look for the willing. Okay, that's all my tips. I know I talked a long time today. But I hope that helps someone. And muted you guys. If anybody has any questions, throw it out there really fast. If not, I'm going to let you guys go because I know I went a little bit long today.
Good tips.
Thank you, Monica.
I actually had something like that happen on my fitness page. I think it was the day before yesterday. One of my mom's cousins commented on my picture that her husband thought that I was prettier before I lost weight. But I mean, that's what she said, and I was like, okay, you know. And she said something about it should be about being healthy, and duh, you know, that's what I've always said it's about, you know. But it's also someone that I know is not happy with themselves, and so I didn't get too upset about it, you know, other than I screenshot it and I sent it to my mom, and I was like, really? my mom messaged me back and she's like, she's just silly. But all I replied back to it was that, you know, being healthy was my number one, and that, you know, something to that effect. And I think she knew that she had said the wrong thing, because then she commented after that. So I think you're pretty now too, and all this kind of stuff. Okay, well, but so I kind of, that resonated with me, that people will say things just because they're not happy with where they are, and when they see you bettering yourself and being healthy, it, like you said, it puts that spotlight on them, and they start feeling bad. When
it does.
I mean, they just need to turn it around into something positive and get busy.
Right. What it is they're not ready to be inspired. And so they turn to self-negativity, and then they lash out. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Whereas another person sees your post and is inspired, and they go, oh, man, I need to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like the same exact post can affect 2 different people completely different ways. I think what you'll find is the majority of the people, like if you were to take a poll or whatever, the majority of people are inspired, and the ones who are like that are very few. But they can have a really big negative impact if you let it, you know. I would say that if her husband really did say that, it was probably because he knew how she is, and he wanted to make her feel better. That's what I would guess. But
yeah, that's what I thought too.
At the end of the day, like, we can't let that kind of stuff affect us, you know. Like, I can't make somebody think something different about me. And honestly, like, if you allowed it, like, how silly would it be? And I know you're not doing this, but just to take an example, How silly would it be if Monica said, oh, I'm so hurt. I'm never going to post again about my health and fitness. I'm never, ever going to show people what I've accomplished ever again. What would that accomplish? Nothing. It wouldn't accomplish anything. It might make that one person feel better because you turned the spotlight off of them, but you're not doing anything for yourself, and you're not doing anything for the people around you who can be inspired.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said earlier, she doesn't sleep in your bed. She doesn't pay your bills, right?
Right.
So why let somebody that has no stake in your life affect us? Thanks for sharing that, though, because I think that resonates with a lot of people, you know. I think some people are afraid, like new coaches are actually afraid of that happening. Like it hasn't happened to them, but that's one of those fears. It's like a fear of rejection. It's a form of rejection, or fear of, you know, ridicule, where we're like, well, if I start posting about this, I'm going to anger people, or people are going to get mad, or people aren't going to want to follow me anymore, or whatever. And I told Melissa, our new coach, Melissa, she was on our call last week. She's not here today, but she had that fear before she started coaching. And so when she finally decided to go ahead and pull the trigger and become a coach, I told her, I said, you know what you do? You just post on your page and you tell people what you're doing, and you say right out front, if this bothers you, if my posting about fitness and health bothers you, go ahead and feel free to unfollow me. It's not going to hurt my feelings. But I'm going to be posting about this because it helps me and it holds me accountable. I told her, and so she did. She's done it a few times, actually. She's like, if this bothers you, then go ahead and hide me. And what she's got in response is a ton of people below going, oh, I love these posts. I love seeing this. Like, thank you so much for sharing your journey and all that kind of stuff. And she was blown away that she had so much support. And I think it's that way with most of us. So we allow ourselves to be held back by a fear, which is what? False evidence appearing real, appearing real. It's false. You might have one person or 3 people in your entire friend list who are that way, but the vast majority, 99% of people aren't.
Y'all stay away from it.
All right. I don't know who's on the phone. Is this Sana?
Yes, Mary. Hi.
Hi, Sana.
I'm just listening and just taking in, and it's really like I'm very grateful for this recording that you're doing, because it's really happening even from my side. And so, yeah, I have my moments of like, kind of almost like discouraged, and then I tell myself, no, like this is a sign that I'm doing something good.
Yeah.
And just keep going. And so, I mean, but I guess just listening to this today, it just kind of helped me to keep reminding it's okay, I'm not alone by feeling this way. And also like the big picture that you just mentioned, and just keep going. And yeah, and then I do have somebody in the family members, well, not mine, like just the in-laws, a few. Well, not for you, just a person. But when you shared yours, it just kind of gave me like, it's okay. It'll be fine at the end. Just I'll probably have the same story as yours.
Yes, you will.
Regard to that one.
You will. And I think if you talk to any coach who's been, you know, consistently working their business for a year, 2 years, 3 years, I guarantee you they've all had the same exact experience where there's somebody, you know, it might not be a spouse, it might not be a mom or a dad, but somebody in their life, like, you know, negative on their posts. And I've had it a lot. I've had it in face-to-face in person, you know, like people making fun of me, or, you know, I don't know. But you just can't let that hold you back. And every time it happens, say to yourself, they don't pay my bills. I heard that on a national wake-up call. Probably, I was still working my full-time job when I heard that. And I'll never forget that call. I listened to it so many times. It's Vito LaFata. If you want to go back in the national wake-up call archives, can't tell you when it happened, but it was the last call with Vito, and he talked about mindset, and he talked about not allowing people to affect you. And he said that he threw out that filter of when somebody says something to you, if you have that filter that you run the comment through every single time, and if it bothers you, just ask yourself, is their life right now something that I admire? Do they have a lifestyle or, attitude, or are they a type of person that I admire? Number one. Number two, are they going in the direction that I want to go? So if we're talking about somebody who goes to work, goes to the grind, puts their 8 hours in, comes home and watches football all night long on the couch with their Doritos, they're not going the same way that I'm going. That might be the way I'm going to go, and that's fine. But we're on different paths. So why would I ask directions or allow someone to give me direction who's not going the same direction as I'm going? That doesn't make sense. It's like asking someone who's been divorced 5 times for marriage advice. Well, they don't exactly have a track record to be giving me advice on something, right? Or somebody who's been bankrupt multiple times for advice on your finances. They can tell you what not to do, but just run it through that filter. Do they they're not going to pay my bills, right? They're not going to sleep in my bed.
Yeah.
They're not going to wake up every day in my house. So they're not going the same direction as me. Why would I allow what they think to affect me?
Yeah. I will keep remind myself that word that you're saying too. They're not paying my bills.
You don't pay my bills. It was funny because after I listened to that national wake-up call, that's what I said every time. I'd be like, they don't pay my bills. They don't pay my bills.
So thank you so much for this.
You're welcome. I'm glad it helped. It was on my mind, so I'm glad that it was a good time for both of you guys. Yay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, if that's all, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go, and I'll post the recording later of this for everybody else. All right.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome. I love you guys.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.